Boom, what up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. If you're listening, you can listen on allthingscomedy.com, where they have a host of other comics there with their own podcast. Listen to iTunes, uh, Omni Studio, Spotify, and I'm wondering, why am I telling people to listen if they're listening? Or maybe I'm telling the people who are watching that they can listen on these things. And then the people who are listening, I'm telling you, you could watch it on YouTube at Ian Edwards Comic, or just type in Soccer Comic Rant. But it seems weird that I'm telling you where to listen and where to watch, where the only way you'd know is if you're watching and listening. Sponsor for the podcast is onthevolleyapparel.com. And I'm going to put a link below the video that shows our merch. We have like 3 t-shirts. They're dope. So check them out. I should be more enthusiastic and try to push those too. But hey, man, I like them. Go check them out. And let's see. We got the full consortium in this piece. And we got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic in England, Southampton fan, wearing his gear. We got Neil Chakravarti, San Diego comic, Chelsea fan, and Martin Conte Harris, comic, actor, and Spurs fan, and he's the winner of the Conte Lotto.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm a Manchester United fan, and I'm wearing one of the Glory Days shirts. Because right now, these are not the glory days. But when we had these, you could not hang with us. Back in the day of this uniform, woo, everybody trembled. That's when Fergie was like, "Come on, fellas, it's just Spurs." That was Fergie's halftime speech when we had these shirts.
Back when Paul Scholes was running the midfield instead of chewing his daughter's toenails.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
By the way, did you listen to Roy Keane when he said, like, what is the guy like Fred doing in Manchester United uniform? He went on a rant for like 2-3 minutes about Fred. Like, how come Fred is even at this club? He's not worthy wearing the Manchester United jersey.
Listen,
Roy Keane.
You're just covering up for Ollie. I love you, Roy Keane, but you're covering up for Ollie. Like, listen, I'm the least tactical person here, and I'm noticing where we're lacking tactically. This is preposterous. You set up our defenders like they're standing in front of a firing squad. Then we're outnumbered, but we have the same amount of players on the field as the opposition. And then there's no flexibility amongst the back line. Nobody on the wings pushing up. They just have Cancelo just crossing the ball. Bruno, no pressure, even on the Bailly goal. First of all, listen, here's the optimistic things about Manchester United this weekend. We stink, and we're 6. Stinking. So that's positive in a negative. We scored just as many goals as City this weekend. That's another positive. We almost had as many shots on our goal as they did. And they only beat us 2-0. And we might have a new coach by the end of this 2 weeks of international week. Lee's like, nah. But if we do, then then I won't be, in the mood that I am now. But we stinking with 6, so that's the positive. And do you guys want to talk about this performance or anything about it, and people talking about it after?
Well, Ian, let me ask you this. You said you might have a new coach.
I can hear you, but is there a way I can hear you better?
So my question is, you said that you might have a new coach by the end of the international break, but who do you think could that be right now? Because I have one candidate that I still I will
Senior candidates in the chat, Martin.
I would stubbornly stick to my guts, saying that they're waiting for Pochettino, but yeah, it's just my guts telling me that.
Yeah. No, why? Why would we want Pochettino that bad? Like, to be honest, I'm out of my depths when it comes to like getting a candidate. I know Ten Haugen, whose name I'm probably butchering, is on the thing. People have even looked at Ralph Ragnick?
Ragnick, yeah.
Ragnick, but he's in Russia or somewhere coaching, and he's the father of all the German coaches that are being successful right now. And then Brendan Rodgers, like, yeah, he's a possibility. Who else they mentioned? But I mean, you guys heard the names, but also, go ahead.
It'll have to be somebody who's not at a job right now. If you're thinking of anything in the middle of the season, right?
Who's that?
I mean, whoever it is. I mean, unless you're getting somebody from Qatar like Barcelona did, any decent club.
Gone.
Yeah, but like any decent club will not, will have a problem letting their manager leave in the middle of the season. So you're kind of, you're kind of narrowing the field just by that one thing. Antonio Conte was one of those who was available. Now he's not available. There's not a lot of candidates out there. I think that's one thing that might keep Ole in the job for the rest of the season.
Neil Warnock left Middlesbrough this weekend, so
how dare you? How dare you? He coached my cousin.
Oh, Kadeem.
Kadeem, when he was at what was it, Cardiff? Yeah.
Well, the question is, guys, one thing, how much influence Sir Alex Ferguson has on those choices, because apparently he didn't want Conte. He didn't feel like Conte fits the philosophy of Menu kind of. Sir Alex Ferguson, apparently he was the one who was opposing hiring Conte, and he's
just trying to keep Ole in the job. It would have been anybody they named.
Yeah, sure.
He would have been opposed to it.
But the question now is, how much influence does he still have over those decisions? Because if it's up to him, then that's the way of thinking who could be the next manager, who fits the Sir Alex criteria to be the next manager.
I don't know, bro. I just know somebody tactical. I mean, even this week, watching that game, they sent, Bailly scored an own goal, but that happens when people put crosses in the box. It's like, so I don't even blame him. So, but when they made it subs when they made the first, Bailly was the first sub off the field, as if Ole was saying, see, this is why I don't play this guy, because he scored an own goal. But listen, anybody could have put that in the net. You know how many times this season De Gea saved a goal from a shot from Maguire? And so that shit can happen when you let people put crosses in the net and you don't set up right, and there's no pressure on the wings, and somebody can just stroll balls across your goal area. And Bailly was the only one, at least, like breaking the lines of Man City's midfield and like created some half opportunities with passes to our forward players. It's like, so you're taking a good ball playing defender off the pitch. So I just think Ollie's just out to prove it's too personal with him about some players, and we just don't need that. I love Ole. I love everything that he's done, but man, he came in when I can figure out something, you're in trouble.
Did you see Guardiola broke down the tactics in the first half of how they exploited it?
What did he say?
He was saying that like he knew that because United, the way they were playing with the 3 or 5 at the back and the 3 midfield and the 2 up front, that he could push the wingers high, which would turn United's backline into a back 5, which means that the wing backs are pushed right back, which then left the space for Walker and Cancelo to just go forward and create 2v1s in those wide areas and find the space, because there was only one player on each side that was defending wide, which, I mean, that's where they killed you, wasn't it? Cancelo, 2 assists.
Yeah.
Which, tells the whole story, really. But I mean, Ole didn't see that. Like they clearly got a lot of strength in those areas with the wingers they've got and the fullbacks they've got. Like Cancelo and Walker, 2 of the best attacking fullbacks that aren't playing for Chelsea right now. So, yeah, they just dominated. And I mean, it's too late to change at half time when you're 2 goals down.
It's crazy. Like they say we got dominated that game, but it's like they scored a goal that could have been easily avoided. Like Shaw was near that ball and tried to he did his shepherd it out move, which he's done in a lot of games. And I think, heads up to Bernardo Silva for like paying attention to that and staying till the end of that ball. And then the Bailly goal is like, we could have played terrible and still drew 0-0. Maybe, but I don't know.
They had 16 shots and 68% possession, so
they had
that dominant.
400 more. They had 400 more passes than us.
Yeah, I think in terms of dominance, this was probably a more dominant performance than the Liverpool one last week.
I wouldn't say.
I mean,
that.
if you don't look, if nobody told you the scoreline, like at least versus Liverpool, United had some chances. Today was, this game was. It seemed like after a while, it seemed like a training ground operation for Guardiola. He made no subs. Like that is pretty damning. I felt like that he literally just said, "No, we got these guys. They're gonna do it. We don't care about we don't need fresher legs. We literally don't need to change anything. There's nothing United can do that can hurt us."
Listen, man, Guardiola should be fired for not scoring more. Now I think he's not that good of a coach. Like you have
I told you in the chat, he's smart. He knew that if they went and scored 5 or 6, that Ole would get fired, and he doesn't want that. So he sat on 2. He's like, I'm going to keep this guy in a job because it's good for me.
I think he did the same thing to Arteta too.
And Arteta's thriving, so it's not that smart.
I think that's what somebody like Guardiola would love, that if you can have a lesser team. I mean, in the table right now, United and Arsenal are lesser than your City. If you can have them performing just about enough to be at arm's length, but not become good, I think that's a dream scenario for somebody like Man City.
Yeah, just that ain't the scenario. You said the scenario earlier on when it's like we're looking for Ole's replacement. That's the only thing keeping Ole in the job, is trying to find a replacement.
I think now, yeah. And I've been hearing this, like if you look at people close to the Man United hierarchy, like the Gary Nevilles of the world, Rio Ferdinand even, they're talking about this. One of the reasons they keep coming back to is what happened with Louis van Gaal and Mourinho. And I mean, I understand that on principle, like, you went with 2 resume heavy managers and it didn't work out, so you might be skeptical. But that can't be the reason for you to never hire. Like, you're literally saying that we don't want to hire a good coach because a good coach is too good for us.
No, they're trying to say we tried to hire a good coach. They're just trying to, any excuse to keep Ole in the job. When it comes to Man United, you cannot listen to Gary Neville because he's biased and he's trying to he played with Ole. Ole won him a Champions League, the treble. There's no way he's going to say anything against it. Rio Ferdinand is saying Ole took us to a certain distance and we thank him, and it's a time. So Rio's keeping it real, and he'll probably get a lot of heat for that. And Roy is trying to have Fred murdered,
and McTominay.
And make them the scapegoat. But listen, they could probably be coached better,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Let's move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me just say this, and I kind of like that solidarity between those players from the golden Manchester United era, because not a single one of them is saying anything wrong about Ole. They're defending him. They try to deflect. They try to bring a different story. But I would say one more thing, because look, the way David Moyes look at West Ham right now, and how he looked in his only season with United, and now you have Ole. Well, some managers, Manchester United is the top of the world, the top of the football world, alongside Real Madrid, Barcelona, and maybe Bayern Munich and one more team. And some managers might be good managers, but they just crumble under pressure at Old Trafford. They just cannot meet that pressure. And it looks like the pressure is eating Ole alive, and he's panicking. He's just not dealing with pressure very well.
I think, as humble as Ole seems, he's kind of cocky, and some of his cockiness has gotten him into this trouble. There's games we didn't have to lose. There's lineups he didn't have to play, and we just would have more points, or and there's some favoritism, but listen, this is over as far as I'm concerned. It's just when, so we'll see.
Rio Ferdinand was the first one that's actually come out and said it's time for him to go now, I think, as well.
Yeah,
he did that today. That's the first time I've actually seen one of those ex-United players come out and say, time's up.
Because Rio's like, I didn't really play with him. Came in like right after he was gone.
That's why there's no solidarity. They're like a club.
That's for Keane and Neville. Rio's like,
and Scholes.
Yeah, and Scholes. Yeah, but Scholes has been hard on him. Like Scholes just goes off sometimes.
Yeah.
You look at interviews months back. Like Scholes yelled, yeah.
Gary Neville has mastered the art of saying a lot without actually saying anything. I think this whole episode with Solskjaer, what's happening, more than hurting Solskjaer's credibility, I think it'll in the long run hurt Gary Neville's credibility a lot, because he's not made any bones of the fact that, yes, I am biased and this is what you're gonna get from me on topic like this, and this
which is honest, which doesn't hurt him if he says that.
Which is honest, but then he's in the wrong job.
Nah, because he's being honest about the thing he knows he's being dishonest about.
But like that's not what he's being paid for, though.
I know, but he's being honest, like, because they do the Monday Night Football thing.
Yeah.
Him and Carragher were taking a taxi home. They was talking about it, and they were saying the things they can't say on the air, which was the same things they say on the air. But then he was like, he was reading the chats. He's like, I'm never gonna root or insist that a manager gets fired. And then he named all the other coaches that weren't Ole that he didn't do that for. And he said, so he's definitely not doing it for Ole.
But that's not what somebody is. Basically, I think if you can't even answer the question, whether Ole right now is doing the job required for a Manchester United manager, you should at least be able to. People talk about it all the time about players. So why can't you say the same thing about a manager?
I mean, that's all. Listen, personally, I know why he's protecting Ole. So I just know he can't be honest on that topic. I wouldn't, for everything else. So that's his flaw. It doesn't like mar him for me as a journalist. Like, and if he does some other shit that's dishonest as a journalist, I'll like, just like I know that this is dishonest, and I know I can listen to the other things he says about other things. It's just, this happens. Even there's journalists who get into argument, like the media hated Van Gaal, right? So he never had any good press, So it's like, it's just people. You just have to know who's telling you what about what to know if they're telling the truth or not. And at least Gary admitted it.
Yeah, at least Gary, he's still better in the studio than he was in the dugout. So,
damn.
True, you don't like the Nevilles
bro.
They're coaching. But let me tell you this. I agree that it's time probably to move on from Ole, but you don't want to make the same mistake with Nuno, that we rushed into hiring someone we didn't really want to hire, and then we had to fire him after a few months. So
it's weird how you don't give Nuno the appreciation he should get for getting you Conte. It's just
that was a costly hire, but it's fine. It all worked out. But you don't want to do the same mistakes. That's what I'm trying to say.
How you feel about your Conte right now? First you were up 3-0 against some nobodies in the conference, and then they came back and made it a 3-2 close nail-biting game, and then 0-0 against Everton. I saw the game, Spurs versus Everton, and that shit, the atmosphere at Everton, that's Goodison Park, that shit felt like a derby. I was like, did Everton move to London? Like, why is this crowd so amped? It's like they was not trying to be Conte's first victim. And they, listen, it's the crowd of the year so far. And there's been some good crowds since people have been back. And both teams fought really hard. Everton might have played slightly better, a lot of energy, and a lot of like, you guys had your shape back, and the most energy you like displayed, you know, in all the losses of Nuno. And what are you feeling about your Conte?
Well, here's the thing. The reason that he accepted this job, clearly he's promised money. Yeah, money for him, but he's also promised to bring players. Conte is a perfectionist. I actually spoke with some people who know him very well. There's a reason why he burns out after 2-3 years, because he takes all those jobs very personally. He's a maniac. He really wants to win at any possible cost, and he believes he can win at Tottenham. Otherwise, he wouldn't accept this job. So he was definitely promised that the Tottenham will spend a lot of money, and the truth is this squad is not good enough. This team is not good enough. I was thinking about it. I was analyzing. I was going deep, in the past. And when Tottenham was good, when Tottenham was really good, they had Eriksen, the guy pulling all the strings in the midfield, and he was
Wanyama.
He was not Wanyama. Dembele, who was 50-50 player, both defensively and offensively, very underrated, but did a lot of great work, and he was pushing the ball forward. So they were both very creative midfielders, and they had Ali, who was 10 times better than right now. So it's 3 creative guys in the middle.
Still
right
got
now.
Ali.
Yeah, right now there's nobody. There's not a single guy in the middle who's creative. So
Ben Davis stood up this weekend, bro.
Yeah. So I'm definitely sure they're gonna bring some midfield this winter. They have to bring creative players, and once that happens, I think Conte will start getting results. But now it's just the survival game,
So you're happy?
Squid Games until the transfer window.
You happy right now?
I'm happier, but I know there's work needs to be done. I'm happier that we didn't concede in this game. But there is work needs to be done. I mean, Lo Celso could have scored, but at the same time, there could have been a penalty for Everton. That was kind of 50-50.
That wasn't a penalty. I saw that thing.
You think?
Who was that? Was Richarlison? See,
Yeah.
Lee's shaking his head. Get out. Yeah,
Okay.
nah, fuck
Okay.
that.
Good.
I was glad they didn't call that.
Yeah, he got enough of a touch on the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to Richarlison's funny. Like, he's a diver. But
he didn't dive.
He didn't dive, right?
Yeah, the contact, but he got the ball first.
But after there was the question that it might be a penalty, then he tried to act like it.
No, because this is where the whole VAR thing is so weird, because to credit to Richarlison, he didn't try. He tried to go on with the play, but then the referee blew for the penalty, so he stopped, and then they didn't get the penalty, and then
he begged like he dived.
No, but like he could have, like, if you're not going to give him a penalty, he probably could have done something with that play, which he was trying to do.
No, he didn't. I don't think he made it to the ball after the play.
He did get brought down. He was on the floor.
Yeah, he was on the floor, but he got right back up, and then
he got back up, right?
Keeper went to the ball first, and then the ref blew. So he didn't make it. Yeah.
I mean, he could have made it, because I think he was the closest guy to the ball.
I think Spurs recovered it, but he didn't dive, which was a shock to me. Yeah. What do you think of Conte? Sorry, Lee. What do you think of Conte, Neil, at Spurs?
I caught like the Premier League game, fair bit of it, and
it's not just about the games. You got experience with Conte, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling in even the last episode, like, this is one of the best things that Tottenham Hotspur have done. Like, this shows like they are serious about where they're going forward.
Shows that they're serious about keeping Harry Kane.
And Son, like, I wouldn't have been surprised if even Son is reconsidering his, but then I think he signed a contract, right?
He did, like, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, getting that director of football, getting a manager, this is, if you want to check all boxes, this is how you're supposed to do things. So they have done that. He needs to get them to start scoring more goals. Like Spurs are the only team in the entire league who have not scored 10 goals, and the other than Norwich, only Norwich is behind them in terms of goals scored. They're 19th.
You're in great company, Martin.
I know. Well, we didn't have a single shot on goal in last 2 games, I believe. So that would be helpful if we start, making some shots on goal.
So, and for him, like, it's all about the wing backs. Like, I think even this game, Reguilon had that great, Harry Kane had a great pass that it would have been a wonderful start to have Antonio Conte at Spurs if a wing back scores on the first game. But I think those are his challenges. He's knuckling down the defense. That's clear from this game. But a lot of people think that Conte just wants money. It's a little beyond that, because the season where he went into open war with our board, he was given 260 million euros to spend. The season before that, so over 2 seasons, he spent 400 million euros, and he was not happy. So it's not just about giving him a lot of money. It's about, you have to give him a lot of money. You have to give him exactly how he wants it, when he wants it, in the right sequence that he wants it, because even the smallest
in
of things,
singles, in a briefcase.
Yeah, right under the flyover,
under the bridge.
Yeah, you're like, even the smallest of things can take him off, which is why I feel like it's really smart to get that director of football, who knows him really well. But
was it Patrici?
Patrici, I think, yeah, that's the way it's pronounced. Yeah, but things can go wrong. Like they say, you won't even know that he hates the guy who he used to love the previous day.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Neil, and we both talked about it on the chat. Like, he likes players who are professional and treat this this job seriously. And you can tell that Ali and Ndombele will not be his favorites, because they're too casual. There were reports of Ndombele being late to almost every training when Nuno was still the manager. So that's the problem, because Ndombele should be the new Eriksen, the new upgraded, more athletic Eriksen. And so far, Ndombele has some potential. He can play, but he's lazy, and sometimes he disappears, and that's not gonna fly with Conte.
Martin, in the words of Allen Iverson, it's just practice.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it comes out of fear, I think he can get it done.
Yeah.
With at least, unlike Nuno, Conte has the presence, the aura around him that I think players will kind of. And you've already got 3 managers sacked within 12 months.
Damn.
At one point, the players have to start looking at themselves and realize that they are the problem. So I think you're going to get a response. Then, like, Conte he had players gasping for breath in their first preseason, but he got things. He got Eden Hazard to train. I mean, if you can get Hazard to train, and you can get David Luiz to become error-free, I think you can work with any sort of players.
Mm-hmm. Lee, tell Martin how this is going to all fall apart.
I was actually quite positive with what I saw from Spurs in that game. Like, I think Conte could be good for certain players. I think he could there could be players that will be reborn under him. Like Ben Davies looks like he's enjoying that left of the back 3 role. Rather than just being the backup left back to Reguilon, he looks like this might be a role for him. And I think it always helps when you have a left-sided player on the left of that 3, which obviously you can do. And I was really impressed by Skip in this game. It's one of the best games I've seen back for Tottenham. Yeah. He wasn't doing anything crazy sort of creative, but he was always keeping the ball moving around the box and finding people. So he looks a lot better. So it might be that, you know, if he plays like that, Conte might keep him in the team. But I think Martin's right. They still do need that proper creative, like number 10 midfielder to go behind the front two.
I kept on confusing Skip with Harry Kane that game. And because Harry Kane is always dropping back, but the way Harry Kane is a good ball handler, and Skip was handling the ball reminiscent of Harry Kane. The way they played in this game made me feel like, and when I think about Nuno's last few post-game press conferences, it made me feel like those players hated him, and I don't know why. I feel like there was some direct sabotage involved,
or just didn't respect him.
I heard some stories that he was very, very distant and very detached from the players on the training ground. Like, it was literally turn up for training. This is how we're training. I'm going to coach you. And then there was no personal interaction with players, no relationships built. He was very, like, from what I heard, he was very cold.
The guy that would hug all his coaches when he played for Wolves whenever they scored.
Yeah. No, the stories I read said that he was just like cold towards the players, and like they said that he was even cold compared to Mourinho, which is
a feat. Yeah,
they've been getting their managers have been getting slowly less personal, because like Poch was quite he had an amazing relationship with the players, and that was probably almost too far, so that when things did go bad, he couldn't pull it out.
Right.
Which was the problem when he lost his job. But then obviously Mourinho he tried to be nice, judging by the documentary when he first came in, but obviously he wasn't the same depth of relationship that Pochettino had. And then Nuno was just, so I think Conte will be a happy medium.
Yeah, with Conte, you won't have the problem of being not attached. He will be too attached. Like, he will call you at 2 a.m. if you're having sex with your partner and remind you of what you need to do first thing in the morning.
And tell you to stop having sex.
He said it in an interview, didn't he? He said that the players can have sex, but the wives need to be on top, is what he said.
Oh, shit. That's so
he said the players aren't doing any work.
Pretty hilarious.
That is actually very funny.
Oh, that's funny.
That is actually very funny. No, I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I think if he brings the right players, and one more time, I think it's time to, unfortunately, because
Martin, you said bring the right players. He's not going to be there that long.
He's going to be there. He's going to be there. No, I believe he's going to be there, and I think he's gonna make Spurs like their own project, and he's going to win something. You know,
18-month project.
No, I think he's going to be like 3 years probably. And then he's going to leave, because that's what he does. 3 years and then he leaves. But like one thing I have to unfortunately divorce someone I loved truly. And the divorce is happening on this podcast today between me and Dele Alli. I mean, it's time to go, brother. It hurts me. I'm going to cry, but it's time to go.
What if he's the new star?
No.
What if Conte resuscitates him? Like,
I think it's beyond repair at this point. It's a car that lost engine and 3 wheels.
All right.
He probably needs, like, he reminds me a little bit of Jesse Lingard. Like, Lingard needed that different environment to go and shine when he went to West Ham. And I think Ali needs that now. He's been at Tottenham too long. He needs to go somewhere new, somewhere where he's going to be the main man.
But do you see that hunger? Because Lingard, even when he didn't play that well for United, he was always playing hard. And Ali is just not playing hard, man. There's like apathy, and it seems like his heart is not in it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, his effort ain't there. So that's a problem. So who's gonna get fired next? They've been firing people left and right. Like, it's Squid Game. It's that Squid Game time of year as far as coaches is concerned. So Farke is out. So he gets his first win.
First was the Watford coach. I mean, he got fired so early that I didn't even get to, know his name properly.
Right. What'd you say, Lee?
Cisco.
Cisco,
Yeah. One of the what group was Cisco from again? I forgot. Cisco, and then
Drew Hill, wasn't it?
Drew Hill. There you go. Boom. And then who else got fired? What do you think about the Dean Smith firing? Was it a little too soon? Like,
I think the board were harsh because obviously they came up against a really good team on the Friday night game, so you can't really, you can't judge him too harshly for losing to a good team. So.
What team was that? I must have missed it.
No, I mean, it's a weird one because I don't think the fans hadn't turned on him, and I don't think the players had turned on him. But
no, the fans had.
Had they all turned on him? Or?
Not all, but I talked to Lloyd,
right,
this Villa fan, and then for the last few weeks, he's like, they want him gone. Then he's like, I'm arguing with these people. He said, this is the most split thing that's happened to Villa fans. Like him going, the people who want him gone and the people who want him there. Like Villa has never been split like this.
I think they technically have had like the third highest net spend in the league since they came up.
Right.
Which is a lot, even with Grealish leaving for 100 million, that like net spend, they still had the third highest, which means, they've been doing a lot of business, and with that comes pressure. And when you're 17th or 16th in the league, wherever they are, that's, it's not where they were like, people were looking at them to be trying to break that top 6, top 7 this year with the money they spent and with the players they bought. I'm pretty sure Leon Bailey didn't leave a team where he was getting Champions League football to come and play bottom half of the Premier League. Even with Grealish leaving, they still got a good squad. Ings didn't leave for 30 million to go join a team that's going to finish below us. Or at least he didn't think so anyway. But I mean, he should have been getting more out of those players, Dean Smith. Whether he deserved more time to do that is another question. But I mean, it's not one where I saw it and went, oh, that's too hasty. It was like, might be too soon, but also probably deserved at the same time.
And they also have Mati Kaszewski making his debut for Poland on Friday. Mati Cash.
Oh, yeah.
Just playing for all the bad teams right now.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn.
That's actually true, unfortunately, but yeah.
There was some stat like he only won 25 games in the last 100 or something, which so somebody, and then I was talking to Lloyd, and they're saying that, but a part of those 30 of those games was their first year in the Premier League, and the survival was the important thing, and then this, so you can make stats look good for you if you don't want it, bad for you if you don't want to analyze them. So then they survived, which was a victory. Everybody celebrated that. And this last year they finished 11th, which was a step up. But also Grealish was injured for certain parts that didn't happen for certain games. So those stats don't tell you that. And then this year, the 5 losses in a row. But Southampton, thanks for ruining Dean Smith's life.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because such a great name in the coaching history. Dean Smith was one of the greatest American basketball coaches at North Carolina. Yeah. So this Dean Smith didn't live up to the American Dean Smith legacy, I guess.
It ain't over yet.
He got the club that he supported as a child promoted back to the Premier League and re-established in the Premier League. So I think he can still be pretty proud of the job he did. It's just time's come to upgrade, hopefully.
I mean, Aston Villa, in their announcement, put out a video of a montage of Dean Smith's. That's pretty rare in today's day and age when you're sacking a manager.
That's because they know they're dead wrong.
No, but he did a good job. Maybe it was the end of a cycle, but maybe I still feel like it was a little early because they had a good season last season, and I think it's very early this season to be making that call. But yeah, some of these teams need to stop copying the Chelsea playbook. Like,
Yeah.
it's just getting too much right now.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous. Speaking of the Chelsea playbook, Neil, tell us about your lucky point versus Burnley that you didn't deserve.
I think this was one of the most chillest I have been about dropped points. It was because there's really nothing to analyze about Chelsea's performance in that game except for not finishing, which is an issue from we've known it to be an issue. But again, this season we've actually outperformed our XG by a bit, so we've actually been finishing well. So a game like this, when you create so many volume of chances, I think in one, if you don't look at the finishing, this is probably our best attacking performance of the season. The volume of chances we created, the volume of clear-cut chances we created, how fluid we looked in setting up, the ball from back to front. Nick Pope had a great game. There are a couple of saves there, which another day they go in. It's just one of the days. I mean, you can blame the defense for that letting up, but then again, first open play goal conceded all season. It's just
that is the first open play goal conceded all season for Chelsea
in the Premier League. Yeah,
get out of here. All right.
So it's
4 goals against.
Yeah, 2 penalties, 1 corner, and then this one was from open play. So
and you're only 3 points ahead of Man City. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, when we lost Lukaku and Werner for a group of games, this was the last of those games, I think, because there is a feeling that they're going to be back after the international break.
Right.
So, I mean, just dropping 2 points on the final hurdle, I think we'll take it. These games will happen during the course of the season. They'll happen to all teams.
You think Neil, they're gonna buy a striker in the winter break?
I don't know, because I think our transfer policy has kind of changed in the last 2 or 3 years, where we don't really go for very short-term targets, and I don't think any long-term targets are going to be available in January. So yeah, I don't think so.
We could sell your Martial.
We wanted Martial under Antonio Conte, interestingly.
Oh, yeah.
Tammy scored a good goal this weekend for Roma away at Venezia. They lost, but he scored a good goal.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but hey, at least if you're going to draw to Burnley, then at least do it on a weekend when Liverpool fuck up. So
right,
that's true. That was good.
Yeah, we lost, but everybody did fuck up. So you guys didn't get that far. Liverpool.
And I have to say, though, Hudson-Odoi is proving that we've been saying this for a very long time. Play him in his best position, and he's now played there for 6 games.
And what's his best position?
Like in the forward line on the left, and he's had 5 good games. He was not good in the cup versus Southampton, but other than that, 5 of those 6 games, he's been really good.
Who else plays in those?
Tough game against a good team in the cup. So
yeah.
Hilarious.
Midweek game,
Yeah, that team beat you up. You get lucky to get out of there on that win. Who else plays in that position that Hudson plays in that is going to give him competition when they come back from injury?
So Mount and Havertz started the season there, and then Havertz lost form. It was Mount and Werner, and then at some point Mount got injured, then Werner got injured. So then it was Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech for a bit. Ziyech isn't playing that great, so now actually it was Hudson-Odoi and Barkley. So I think Hudson-Odoi, among all of these guys, Hudson-Odoi has been the most consistent in every game, like at least in the Premier League.
Did Ziyech score?
He scored midweek versus Malmo. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
But Ziyech has been having very bad. Like, I came across the stat yesterday, like the 7th, the day before, was the 1-year anniversary of his last Premier League assist.
Oh wow!
So he's played over almost 1,200 minutes, 1 goal, 0 assists. So he's on the chopping block.
It's funny. You guys bought 4 or 5 players last year, and only one of them is performing, and you won Champions League, and that's Mendy.
No, I think Thiago
No,
Silva is
Havertz
performing.
Havertz is performing.
Havertz had a good Champions League final, but he ain't been performing.
No, he had this good semi-final too. So I think among the signings, I think Thiago Silva has been good, Mendy's been good, Chilwell's been good, and
but Chilwell's not even starting now.
No, he's starting now. He's starting every game now.
Somebody got injured?
No, he just played one game and he showed why he's so much better than Alonso. So and he's been starting ever since.
Alonso is just going to be the cup left back now, isn't he, or left wing back?
Yeah.
And he scored in like 4 games in a row, right, Chilwell?
That's true.
Yeah.
First Chelsea player since Hazard to do that.
Oh snap!
So,
Forward Chilwell.
So I think even Werner and Havertz, they've been good and bad. Ziyech the only one who's been an out and out.
But you didn't hire those guys to be good and bad. That's a lot of money and expectation to be good and bad. And then this is like, I still hold out hope for them, but it's the only fun thing for an outsider to like about, to kick Chelsea about, right now.
Yeah.
So.
No, we definitely need them to, start scoring. Havertz, again, like he's playing center forward right now. That's not really, he's got some experience there. He scored a goal in one of the previous matches. He scored again this week. So, but he missed a great chance too. So,
right.
Yeah.
What y'all think about the rise of Arteta?
Well, it works. Since they lost first 3 games, I believe they won almost everyone except of 1, right?
Well, the last 5 games is
2.
2 draws and 3 wins.
Yeah.
And then they had probably wins before that.
Well, it's a weird season where teams are losing points, and so his result looks better because of other teams' flaws. Higher up mid-table team, but I think they found something with their young players, and this one guy, I always forget his name, is the double name. He's playing out of his mind. Yes, Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
He's playing out of his mind.
But they
I would say he's the best player they have this season.
Nah, Tavares came out of nowhere. I don't know if Tierney's ever going to get on the field again. Then Saka's doing his thing. And one thing I noticed about them is like, and it's ever since the Spurs game.
Yes, true.
It's like when they scored against Spurs, I was like, how are they going to handle this lead? And they handled that great that game. But then to go up 1, it's Watford, but you know how hard it is for a young team to hold on to a 1-goal lead in the Premiership, and they managed to do that. And so I'm noticing a type of professional maturity that I know normally that's kind of advanced. So we'll see. But I think this team is going to be dangerous. Yeah, what are you going to say, Lee?
I saw some interesting stats today on the amount of chances that certain teams concede, and Arsenal are actually conceding more chances, big chances, this season than they did last season. But for some reason, they seem to be getting a bit of luck, like having an upgraded keeper with Ramsdale seems to be helping them. And I don't know if teams just aren't finishing against them as well, but obviously they're doing better down the other end. So they're killing the games off, which is good for them. But it does say that they are potentially in a slightly false position because teams aren't taking their chances against them. Like obviously Leicester could have easily got something from that game if it wasn't for Ramsdale. So they are giving up chances still, but somehow they're getting clean sheets. So, it'll be interesting to see how long that lasts and where they do finish eventually. But I mean, it seems way more positive than it did at the start of the season. So that can't be a bad thing.
Right. Oh, let me ask you about, even though that Ramsdale sale was like save was last week, was that the greatest save in Premier League history? Can you remember like a better save than that in Premier League?
There's been some pretty amazing stuff before. Like, I mean,
Seaman, right? Seaman had one amazing.
that
save,
was
I remember.
Siemens was the FA Cup.
FA Cup, okay.
On a header from Paul Pescasolido from Sheffield United at Old Trafford.
Damn. Damn, Lee.
Yeah, I've got that recall in there somewhere. Some of the stuff Peter Schmeichel did in his prime for United as well was pretty unreal. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can find that he did in the 90s. So
Peter Shilton,
it's hard to say one's like the best. Like I even remember there was a period where at Chelsea, Cudicini was pulling off amazing saves on a weekly basis before he got ousted by Petr Cech. Like he made some real spectacular saves in his prime.
You know,
Cudicini was a very solid keeper.
You know where he finished his career? Because I actually spent some time with him because my friend is an Italian sports writer. He finished his career at LA Galaxy. He came here when he was 4 years old. Yeah.
He's now one of our loan managers. Like we have a group of three loan technical coaches. Makalele, Cudicini.
Oh, Makalele?
Yeah, and I think there's Torre and Flo and Paulo Ferreira. So 3 or 4 of them.
What are y'all trying to do?
The amount of players you've got on loan.
Yeah. What are y'all trying to do? Like the Bayern it over there? Like keep all your old players?
All players, yeah. I think so. I mean, that's interestingly, like this has been part of what Chelsea has been doing for the past 4 or 5 years anyway. Even before, like, you know, we started appointing former players as managers. So, yeah.
Going back to saves, what I will say is, if you look up, I just remembered one that I saw live, which was Southampton used to have a Finnish goalkeeper called Antti Niemi, and we played Arsenal.
I remember that name.
We played Arsenal at St Mary's, and this was the Arsenal that had Bergkamp, Pires, Henry. And we beat them 3-2 at St Mary's, and he made a triple save where he had to save, get up, make another one. If you look up Antti Niemi triple save on YouTube, anyone that's listening or watching, go look at that. It was amazing.
Good luck spelling it, y'all.
I think it's ANTTINIEMI. But yeah, that was just the fact that it was 3 saves in one was pretty amazing. Like in isolation, probably not better than the Ramsdale save, but the fact that he had to pull it off was pretty amazing. Just thought I'd mention that one. I remember. Also, Neil was talking about the whole, Chelsea philosophy off the pitch and everything. It's interesting. We were talking just yesterday about Michael Emenalo might be appointed the sporting director at Newcastle, which will maybe give that project a bit of direction. Obviously, Eddie Howe's been appointed as well, but yeah, Emenalo was the guy. How long was he with you guys now? It was a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was there for a very long time. I think I want to say 6 or 7 years.
What did he do for Chelsea?
He was the director of football. I mean, I don't think that was the exact position, but practically that's what it maps out to. He was the technical director, so he was in charge of the recruitment policy, basically what Petr Cech is doing right now. Recruitment policy, getting all the the scouting would report to him, the new manager, everything. He was one of those guys who, managers wanted to get players from Brazil. I think Villas-Boas wanted to get players from Brazil. And he was one of the first people who said that, no, we need to look at Belgium. And that's where everything is at. So he got Courtois, Hazard, Lukaku, De Bruyne, all in one soup.
He was the Belgian
Chelsea. Yeah, we had some great coaches, scouts on the ground, but our scouting, head of scouting, but Emenalo kind of drove those projects and started getting a lot of players from even Salah playing at Basel in Switzerland. So kind of not going to the conventional places and finding these hidden gems. But again, the mistake we made was when Mourinho came back in for the second term, his order was so much that we stopped doing the best things that we were doing. It kind of like gave him the keys to the kingdom. And that's kind of that's something that kind of stopped that project on its tracks.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, he's been great for the academy too. He was a great driver of the academy. So if Newcastle get Avenalo, that's a really, really good signing.
Do they have him, or are they thinking about getting him?
I think it's nothing's official yet.
Yeah, I think it's just being talked about, but apparently he's like had discussions with the Saudis and everything, so it's pretty advanced, if not confirmed.
Yeah.
All right. And what's up with so what do you think about Eddie Howe? At first, I was like, nah, and then I was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, because I like managers who sit out a while and don't take the first job offer that they're given. And Eddie Howe, I feel like he thought about, it wasn't just the money, but he looked at it's like he held out. He could have had a job, he held out. So the fact that he took this one gives me hope for him. What y'all think about him over there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of his ex-players there as well. So
yeah,
Matt Ritchie, Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser. So there's guys there that he knows. I think he's a good like stepping stone manager for Newcastle. Like you can't go from Steve Bruce to someone elite. You need someone in between. You need to.
Yeah, you can't go from cut cocaine to uncut pure cocaine. That would kill you. You're right.
Yeah, it's just you can't jump that quickly because there's going to be a transition of players as well, and you still need someone that is going to be used to managing, not elite level players for a little bit while that transition happens, but someone that can also coach any good players that they bring in. So I think he's a good appointment in that respect. I still think we discussed it. Like I think he's still a manager who they could have. He's the sort of manager that Newcastle could have got even if they didn't have the Saudi money.
Yeah.
Which maybe makes it a little bit underwhelming for some of their fans, but ultimately he's probably a good sort of safe choice to increase their levels a little bit. I don't know if he'll be able to take them to where they want to go ultimately, but he'll get them further on the line than Bruce will have.
I think it's a perfect signing for them at this point. It's only underwhelming based on all the crazy talk that was happening at the beginning, like when this happened, right? Like you can't really go out and get a really top level manager and expect them to do something in relegation dogfight because they don't have that experience right now. Eddie Howe, it's like Newcastle right now needs somebody who can save them from relegation. Eddie Howe has worked with a small team in the Premier League and kept them up. He's got that experience. If things go really bad, which I certainly expect it to, and they have to go back to the Championship, Eddie Howe has experience in the Championship. If on the other hand they somehow survive and they have to push on towards mid-table, Eddie Howe has experience doing that. So I think they're covering a lot of their bases going with Eddie Howe. It's just weird because the reports also were that they were just a few days before they're trying to go to Unai Emery. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know any strategy that can have Unai Emery and Eddie Howe on the same list. Like that makes absolutely no sense.
I could see that a little bit. Like he's like
two completely different style of managers. They at completely different levels of reputation at this time.
Yeah.
Also completely different to Fonseca and also the other guys they were linked with as well. Like they're all really different styles. That's why they need a sporting director. So they can say, this is our style. These are the managers that fit it, rather than just, what about this guy or this guy or this guy or this guy kind of thing. And there's no method behind it.
Yeah.
I think we spoke about this in the first episode after the whole Newcastle thing, that because at that time, the rumors were that they're going to get a director of football first and then move on to manager and players in January. So I think that kind of made sense. Turns out they're doing things backward now. So, but I guess Eddie Howe is somebody that would be good for them right now.
Yeah, we'll see how he he does over there. I guess the question is like, what's up with that Crystal Palace? Patrick Vieira, 2-0 versus Wolves. They just doing their thing. Is this a shock to you guys? I mean, they're only 10th, but it feels like the vibe that they're higher in the table. But for a team that used to play counterattacking football and low block to like get points in places people don't expect. Last week they beat Man City. We didn't get a chance, I think, to talk about who they beat last week. No, they tied with Liverpool, I think. Well, hold on a second. Let me see.
I think that was Brighton. I think
They beat
did-
Man City.
Yeah, they beat City last week.
They beat City last week, yeah. So Patrick Vieira, you know, it's just good to see like a black coach not only just get a chance but do something with it. It's a long season.
And they could have beaten, like their previous 2 games, they could have beaten. They drew with Arsenal last kick of the game. And Newcastle also, they should have won that game. So they dominated, like I think the last 4 games, they've dominated those 4 games.
Yeah, it's I'm surprised by this as well though, because like I thought they were going to finish probably. I mean, they might still, but I mean, my thought was when they hired Vieira and looking at the squad, there was loads of players out of contract. There was loads of old players. It needed a complete rebuild. I thought they were probably going to, if they didn't go down, they would finish just above it. I thought they were going to be somewhere between 15th and 20th, potentially. So he's exceeding expectations and he's got them playing good football, which that was the other thing I thought would be different, that they've gone from Hodgson to Vieira, who's more expansive and more, attacking. That takes time sometimes, especially when the players are used to a certain way. So, yeah, the fact that he's got them getting these results so quickly is impressive.
Yeah, and it's just like his style is working immediately. The players have adapted to it, and it's like, and thank God, because you don't want to have to be the one that has to walk in an office and fire Vieira. So that's good. like the person who has to fire him is like, thank God you win.
I think there's only one person who can do that. They'll have to outsource that job to Roy Keane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to hire Roy Keane just for the day to come in and fire Vieira.
He might have a future in that gig.
Going to fire people.
Yeah. Go and tell Pogba that they're not renewing his contract.
There was a movie with George Clooney.
Oh yeah, I know. Up in the air.
Was that where they would hire him to go to companies and like clear out anybody that the company didn't need and consolidate the workforce.
Yeah.
And so the company could. I forgot the name of it though.
I think that was Up in the Air.
Up in the air. All right, probably. Yeah, he was flying a lot during that movie. Yeah. But Brentford is on a hot losing streak. I think they ran out of this international break couldn't have come sooner enough. They got 4 losses in a row, so they cooling off at 14th.
A friend of mine went to that game against Norwich as well, and he said like
Norwich weren't even Norwich.
He said Norwich weren't even that good. Like Brentford were just bad. So yeah, I'm interested. It sounds like the decision to sack Farke from Norwich was done before the game, so the result was immaterial, kind of thing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because I've seen them linked with like Lampard, Dean Smith, even Hasenhüttl, which makes no sense. So we'll see.
The Cantwell's been injured. Like every time I see Norwich highlights, I watch him play, and he's their best player. So
yeah, he's not out there.
It's a part of it, and you already gave away Buendia to Villa, so they're going to do bad. Like Farke didn't sell Buendia. Like,
I hope they have somebody lined up though, because I really want to know which sort of person is going to take this job now.
Because
I mean, when they hired Farke, he came from Dortmund's reserve team, so they might just pull some guy out of left field, or they might hire Lampard or Dean Smith. We'll see.
No, but like somebody like Lampard, you're literally going out of your way to hurt your CV by doing this.
That's why I'll know the type of coach Lampard is if he takes this job. Like Eddie Howe. He's like, I'll wait. You know, it's like if you want to have a good coach, you got to pick the right job. If you pick
I mean, Lampard's passed up on a bunch of jobs apparently.
you should pass up on this one too.
Yeah, I feel so. I actually feel the Aston Villa job, if it comes up, would be a decent one for Lampard. But I think they are even Villa is considering both Lampard and Gerrard for that job.
Yeah, so Villa, I heard Gerrard is like the front runner for that job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
that would be an interesting one for him to, because the pressure's really on him if he goes there as well to prove himself. Because if he fucks up, then he stops himself potentially getting the Liverpool job.
But
if he goes there, if he goes there, he stinks.
He could stink and then go somewhere else, get more practice, maybe in another division, like one below, and then do good. And then, like, Gerrard is good enough where people like, well, he did good at Celtic. He can do bad.
Rangers.
And
Rangers.
Then Rangers, my bad. That's
you're gonna have some people knocking at your door.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to delete my social media saying that. But yeah, he's got room to fuck up, I think.
Yeah. I mean, at some point
he's put pressure on himself though to get there quickly. Yeah. I think he wants to be the next guy after Klopp. So
might as well practice with Villa.
Yeah, but like I said, the pressure's on to be good if that's how quickly he wants to do it. So if he wants to go to Villa for 2 seasons and then get that job, then he needs to go in and do well. But I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if he'll leave partway through the season, but we'll see. I thought that about Rodgers. He did to Celtic. So
yeah, I couldn't believe Celtic. I mean, Rodgers was really leaving. I was like, he ain't gonna do that, and he did. So. Is there any other team you guys want to cover? We talked about Newcastle, Ranieri at Watford. Even though they lost, they're still.
Oh, what did you guys have to say about? Did you guys see the Arsenal goal versus Watford, which was scored? So Watford had a player injured down.
The Xhaka goal.
The Smith Rowe goal.
Yeah, Ranieri says they should have put the ball out of play.
So they put the ball out of play, and then Arsenal should have given the ball back to Watford.
Yeah.
They didn't, and then there's a passage of play, and then from which Arsenal score.
Oh, and that's why Ranieri was like kind of trying to not hear it from Arteta.
Probably. Yeah.
Hey, man, it's stay alert at all times.
I mean, I would have. If it was an Arsenal player that was down and Watford did it for them, I would have understood. But I think if Watford's player is down and you put the ball away, you're doing a good thing for yourself, not for anybody else. So I think it's completely fair to score after that.
Yeah, and the fact that the Arsenal young kids did that shows me a level of
cojones,
yeah, and that's that. Like, there's grown-ass professionals that wouldn't do that, and that just shows that's like good for those kids, man. Fuck it, they didn't flinch. Yeah.
Liverpool.
You see, Lewis Dunk ended up in goal for Brighton very briefly.
Oh yeah. Oh, so let's talk about that. So that was the Newcastle game, right? Versus So that was, I was talking to Neil about that. So it's like 5 minutes left in the game. Callum Wilson has a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He goes around the goalkeeper, and the Brighton Hove goalkeeper kicks out slightly.
Yeah.
Callum, you saw the play, right?
Yeah. He sort of he glanced his leg, which then hit his other leg, which took him down. Him kicking it looked like he kicked his own leg, which is the way forwards do to buy the penalty. My question is, do you believe Callum Wilson could have stayed up? I don't. I think the contact was enough to bring him down.
Yeah.
Because if he stays up, he goes through and scores.
That's what I'm saying. But we've seen this sometimes, right? Where even when that play is happening in the box, like there's so many times I've seen Richarlison could have scored or taken a shot, and he'd rather try to get the penalty then get the shot, and you don't know if they're going to give you a penalty.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like with 5 minutes left in the game, you score that goal. You find a way to stay up and score that goal, because the 5 minutes with a red card to the other team doesn't give you any advantage. So I thought it was like, Callum Wilson, stay up. You're a strong dude.
I think though, like when it's in the penalty area, the play isn't going quite as at high speed. Whereas this one, he was sprinting, like he was doing his best to try and get to that ball and then play past him. I think the momentum came into it as well, and the contact did knock his legs together, which is hard to do that and stay up. So I think, I don't think he could have stayed up on there. But I thought one of the weird things was when Dunk went in goal and Newcastle got a free kick, and it wasn't in a great shooting position, but they still opted to cross. I'm like, you've got a centre back in goal, have a shot, like try and do something.
What? How did they take the corner? Say it again. I thought
it was a free kick. It was a free kick,
right.
And they decided. I can't remember who took it, but they decided to cross it rather than shoot. And I'm like, you know, you got a defender in goal. Try and
I see what you're saying.
Put something on him.
Yeah.
Like even if he spills it, you might get a rebound.
Right.
Like they didn't test him really.
Kudos to Newcastle. They players like dug out a point on that one. Like they, you know,
not an easy place to get a point. Brighton,
right.
Trossard looked good again as well. He's performing every week right now.
Yeah, and then that's just Brighton is just like an example of trusting your process. Because I remember when they got Graham Potter over, I forgot the name of the coach, but he was the black coach, and Graham Potter. Say again.
Chris Hughton.
Yeah. And then the first year, you could see what they were trying to do, and I think they almost got relegated, but they never changed. And then the second year, you could definitely see what they were trying to do, but they couldn't score. But you could see what they were trying to do. And then now they still don't have a score, but they kind of solved that problem. And where is Brighton Hove now? They're
sixth or seventh.
Seventh, yeah. So they still, if they had a forward, they would be West Ham. And what do y'all think about West Ham? I still think this is going to fizzle out a little bit as soon as Man United fixes their coaching issues. Like West Ham is still going to be up the table, but fifth, sixth, seventh.
I would say that game against Liverpool, that was the loudest I've heard that stadium since they moved. Like it sounded like Upton Park.
Yes, exactly.
Because that stadium is, because it's such a distance from the pitch with the fans, and I've been to a game there and it felt a bit like soulless. It was just this big stadium, like I say, gap to the pitch and everything, but like the noise when they scored their goals against Liverpool, the fans, like those guys are going wild. That was like, it was packed out. I don't know if that's just because of the run of form they're in. Everyone's like going to the ground and they're super up for something, and they've got a bit more belief in the team now that they're getting these results. But yeah, if they can make it intimidating to play against there, then that gives them an extra edge as well. But they bullied Liverpool, really. It was interesting to see that happen as well, because not many teams do that to Liverpool. And they've got to be taken seriously. And people I just think the way Moyes is doing it there suits him. Like he's not under pressure to play a certain way. And they pick and choose their moments, because they're not just a defensive team that play on the counter and play for set pieces. Like those are two things that they use to good effect, but they also do have players who can play in there. Like Fornals is a really good player. Lanzini, when he plays, can play. Like Rice, although he's a holding midfielder, he can play as well. So it's interesting to watch, and it's nice having another team up there, a different name, causing issues at the top of the table. So I think it'll fizzle out as well, but who knows when. I'd like to see him keep it going for as long as possible, just to make things interesting.
I don't.
I think as long as they can have, because they don't have a lot of squad depth.
Right, that's what the problem.
But if they can keep their main
Antonio and Rice are the big two they need to keep fit, I think.
Yeah.
right, but I think as long as they can keep their first 11 or their first 12 or 13 fit, I don't see it fizzling out, because this is not the first season. Like last season also, they were right up there. I think up until the last, they could have also nicked top 4 with the way Liverpool were going at one point. So it's actually pretty. I think it's a stable foundation with what they're working with right now. The fullbacks are doing the job. Rice and Souček, it's on par with most midfields in the Premier League in those areas. Bowen's having a great time.
You think they're on par with Fred and McTominay?
Yeah, I think you just blindly take one of Souček or Rice at Man United right now.
Yeah.
Bowen's having great time. Bowen, Fornals, Benrahma, Antonio, actually all of them are having a good time. I think the partnership between Zuma and Obona at the back, that's working really well.
Obona's got an ACL though now, so
oh, is it that bad? Damn.
Yeah, it's an ACL, so that's pretty big for them.
How long is he out for then?
Rest of the season, that'll be.
Snap.
That's crazy, because that backup guy there, the Dawson, he's not that good.
No.
So, yeah, that could be one of the things. That derails them.
That's their depth thing. It's their defense, but they work hard. West Ham is a perfect team. It's like, when a couple works in a relationship, it's like timing meets the personalities of the couples and where they are at the time that they meet. So West Ham, they're going through some shit and they needed someone, and Moyes was going through some shit and he needed a team. And it's funny, like Sebastian, he got rid of Haller, right?
Into Ajax.
Yeah. But Haller's killing at Ajax, but they don't miss him. Like you don't even. There's not even a cross reference where you mention what this and Haller's killing it not only at Ajax but in the Champions League for Ajax. So, but I remember Moyes going, nah, just get out of here. We don't want you. We'll take the loss on that. And Felipe Anderson, like the same shit. Like, yeah, you're good, but you're not what I need. Be out. And making those decisions, make your players, I guess, like, all right, this guy's serious, so let's just play for him. And
Liverpool, I think the goals that they conceded, 2 of them from corners. I think Alisson could have done better. And the man marking generally, West Ham's so good on set pieces that it seemed like they didn't really have their man marking right. Like I think they're trying to do zonal marking. It just wasn't set up right, because they had, on the third goal, they had Kurt Zuma. If you know anything about Kurt Zuma all these years in the Premier League, he's absolutely dominant in the air. And they had a mixture of nobody and Trent Alexander-Arnold trying to mark him.
Who?
Trent.
Oh, I feel like Liverpool's midfield is shambles right now. Like the players that's where their injuries are being progressive towards. Like last year it was defenders, this year it's like midfielders, and who knows.
But I think this game they had Fabinho, they had Henderson.
Yeah, they had Fabinho, they had Henderson, but then you had Oxlade-Chamberlain starting, and then there's three other midfielders they prefer before Oxlade-Chamberlain. It would be Keita. It would be the
Elliot,
Curtis. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I mean, Ox really needs to step up and show, because he's not injured right now. He always has the injury excuse, but now he's not injured. If you want to stay at a squad which is near the top of the table, because otherwise you could have just been at Arsenal.
Mhm.
These are the kind of moments, because once these guys come back, then you're again not gonna get your spot. So
if you don't
Well-
grab it now,
you need to.
He'll end up back with us like Theo.
yeah, you want to end up back at Southampton.
Like Theo, yeah.
Get your shit together. I feel like Southampton about to get some Ross Barkley soon.
I think it's going to be very tempting if somebody puts in a bid in January, because we've been trying to get a good profit on the 15 million we spent on him.
Problem is his wages though. Like you got to find someone though. We wouldn't ever touch his wages.
It's 120k.
Somebody will be desperate. Newcastle maybe.
No, but I don't feel we should sell him anyway. Like I don't think we should. We should keep him till the end of the season, because you never know.
Just
Like
bring
we're
Billy
talking about,
Gilmore back and get rid of him.
no, Billy Gilmore needs game time. I don't want to bring Gilmore or Gallagher back because they need the game time. Ross Barkley is our mercenary. Like we can run him, we can use him, pick him up.
But Ross Barkley doesn't need game time in a Chelsea uniform.
No, he doesn't, which is why it suits us perfectly, because we can then only give him 20, 30 minutes once in a while, but then we know we have him. So
yeah, I just think
we're not worried about his development. So
I know, but I feel like a better player in that position, you'd have won that game and got those points this weekend.
But we can't afford to have a better position. He's literally our 8th choice in those forward positions.
You should have a better 8th choice. You're Chelsea.
Yeah, I think realistically what's going to happen is next season both Barkley and C.H. Leaf and Conor Gallagher takes that spot. So
why is White Fred on your team?
Who?
Ross
Ziyech?
Barkley.
Ross Barkley? No, I mean Barkley's actually done well. He's not had. He did a few step overs that really annoyed me, and he missed a good shot that annoyed me. But overall, I think his game has been way beyond what I was expecting it to be, because he even fizzled out at Aston Villa. So
this is what Ross Barkley does. He doesn't play.
And the fact that he has Tuchel's trust is pretty revealing.
Does he have Tuchel's trust or Tuchel's desperation?
No, he's actually picking him above Ziyech. He's picking him above Ziyech, which is
he also
great.
picked him above Sal.
Yes, in midfield sometimes. So here's the thing. I think Chelsea this season, we are trying to win 4 or 5 trophies. If we have to keep a few players just lying around, that's fine. We can
just play Sal. Why?
No. Sal plays in the deeper midfield. That's already packed because we have.
But you could
Jorginho, Conte, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek playing for 2 positions.
All right.
Barkley, I think, can play there, but Barkley's mostly being preferred in the front. So Sal
could play anywhere, though. Sal could play where Barkley played this weekend.
I don't think Sal can play anywhere because he's literally had one half of a good game in the 4 chances he's got for Chelsea. So
Ian's just jealous because United would kill for a Sal right now.
Yeah. We'd use this. No,
maybe that's where he should have gone.
Ollie wouldn't use Sal.
Just tell him it's the new Donny.
He'd still play, the new Donny.
Here's what you guys should go. You guys should hire Simeone and then get Sal, and then Simeone won't play Sal.
Mm-hmm. We already have. Sal is already. Donny's already being Simeone by Ollie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, we can wrap it up. Thanks for coming through, Neil, to the La Jolla Comedy Store.
That was great, man.
Yeah, the weekend in La Jolla I forget, I was telling Lee, I forget that I have shows sometimes. So I didn't even promote the show on the podcast, but it was last weekend. And it was, La Jolla is just fire, man. It's just it's a great scenic city. It's surrounded by the ocean. The crowds, well, it's like a party vibe. It's just like everybody's just there to have some fun. And the La Jolla Comedy Store is just on point. And Neil came by on Sunday and did 5. And then, I can't wait to, I hope they do La Jolla like once a year. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. That was great. That crowd was good.
Yeah, I got to work out some shit. It's good.
Yeah.
So Lee, you got anything you want to talk about on the way out? Anything to promote?
No, just boo to the international break. Is all I've got to say.
Oh, you all want to talk about Ted Lasso next week? If I can try to access it and watch a bunch of episodes, you want next week to be the Ted Lasso episode?
Maybe, yeah. It's more about what happens off the field than on the field on that show. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, we can talk some
see
international.
how you find it.
Yeah. Let me watch it first. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's too much going on. Like internationally, like England have got, I think, fairly straightforward games. One of them's against San Marino, so yeah.
England's hurt me so much, I still can't trust them even against San Marino.
Half the squad have dropped out as well for this.
Oh yeah.
Like Ward-Prowse got back in the squad and then he's like, "Nah, I'm injured now."
That's hilarious. Ward, this is one of your last chances. The World Cup is coming. What's wrong with you?
Lee, I wanted to.
It meant Smith Rowe got called up though.
Yeah.
All right.
Because he originally wasn't in the squad, Smith Rowe, and then he got called up when Ward-Prowse and a couple. Like I said, there was 4 players who dropped out.
Mason Mount dropped out.
Yeah.
Mason Mount.
Livramento dropped out of the under-21s as well.
Lee, about the under-20, I wanted to ask you this because Hudson-Odoi has now rejected the under-21 call-up. Have you heard anything about that? Like, what's the reaction in England? Like, do people consider that to be disrespectful, arrogant?
No one's really talking about it. To be honest, I think he's done it before as well. So
yeah, this is the second time he's done it.
Yeah, I think because I've heard he was going to declare for Ghana, which, you know, if I was him, I probably would do because they're a strong nation and he's got a better chance of playing there because he knows when everyone's fit, it's probably unlikely he's going to play for England. Like he's always a good squad player, but yeah, I think Mason Greenwood has said that he wants to have a break as well. Like they tried to call him up and he said like, "No, don't call me up until next year" or something. So yeah, some strange stuff going on right now, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, if I was Hudson-Odoi, I would declare for Ghana if I wanted to play international football regularly. But yeah, no one's really, not that I've seen. I mean, there'll probably be some idiots on Twitter somewhere talking some shit, but
yeah, there's some talk sports stuff.
Yeah, no one whose opinion I value is criticizing him.
Nobody was talking about it, Neil, because nobody heard about it. But now that they heard about it on the podcast, everybody's going to be abusing Hudson-Odoi for not taking the call. Well, guys, we had fun. Thank you, Aaron Brungard, for producing it. Martin was here for a minute, Mr. Conte. And yeah, man, international break. Leave some comments. We'll respond to them. I see Lee in the comments on YouTube responding. I responded to a few people, and then we're also thinking about maybe doing a midweek episode sometimes. Me and Neil was talking about that. So Lee, you gotta let us know if you're down. Also, we gotta talk to Martin about
it.
Always, dope. That's great. And so that we're not bringing like older news
at once.
So like we have talking about the fresh Premier League and then whatever happened midweek. And so we're thinking about that. Let us know what y'all think about that. And I think that's it. Aaron Brungard, good looking out, homie. And maybe we'll talk Ted Lasso's next week. I'll try to catch up. And thank y'all. Be good to each other. One.
All right. Let me get this quick. All right, guys. 3, 2, Ian. Earphones. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to hear you tell me to take it out if I didn't have it in.
Just all right, got it.
Got it.
Oh, I forgot. It's Broja versus England on Friday.
Oh yeah, that's true.
As well, that's the other game. I just looked England, Albania at Wembley. So
yeah.
Racist Albania in the building.
Harry Maguire is going to get beat up by Broja.
Yeah, it's Maguire, Conor Cody, and Tyrone Mings, right?
That's a suspect defense.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And
suspect.
he's a good centre forward as well. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm back up at St George's Park next week for the next part of my A license. So I'll be interested to see if there's anyone from England
All right. Sure, let
up
us
there,
know.
because they're playing away to San Marino on Monday,
Mm.
and I'm up there Tuesday, Wednesday. So
Mm.
that'll be interesting. But
So they must have some other game after San Marino, don't they? Or is that the last game?
It's too
it's the
late.
last game of this international break, I think.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And I think it's the last game of the qualifiers. Yeah, match day 10 of 10.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, next week I can do the podcast from St George's Park. I
Oh,
will be
that's
in my
Oh,
hotel.
cool. That'd be great.
Yeah, show us around a little bit.
Well, I won't be able to show you around.
Just like do that with the camera and shit. With the phone.
That will get me
Just-
kicked out. But
Oh,
I
okay.
will
Just
be
knock
doing
on.
it from my hotel room at St George's Park.
I feel you.
It'd be really cool. Like, get Steve Holland on the podcast. Like, we can hear him riffing on how what Ollie's doing bad. We can actually have him do it.
The thing is, when you're up there, like there is loads of, like the last time I was there, all of the Premier League referees were there. Southgate was there.
Mm.
The women's under-19s team were there. There was a whole bunch of people around, but yeah, I can't really go up to one of the Premier League referees and say, like, can you come to my room at 1 a.m.
Why not?
and do a podcast?
Why not, bro?
Can you come to my room at 1 a.m. and get on video?
I want to talk to you. I want to make a video.
I have a nice webcam set up.
Yeah. Lee boots on the ground Hudson, baby. At Carrington. Well, thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks,
See you guys in the chat. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right.
Bye.
One.